Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is.
By insisting he accept their lies as real. By insisting he was never to his people tied. By dictating exactly what he might feel. By permitting haughty joy, but never pride. They believed a lion could be brought to heel. That a lion could from his courage be pride. That the lion himself would learn to kneel. That a lion would not care, even if his line died. That the lion himself would accept such a deal. In the end, it was only to themselves they had lied.
Listen to that every morning. It'll change your life. If that doesn't get you pumped. Alright, welcome back. How's everyone doing? Is everyone enjoying Clown World? You guys having a great time? I hope not. I hope everyone's suffering just as much as me. I might know too much. That's the problem. Alright, so, not financial advice. Consult your licensed financial advisor, of course. Do your own research. Think for yourself. Just the guy on YouTube. I'm gonna talk about I don't know, everything, I guess. We'll take a look at the news. I'm just gonna give you guys my macro theories. The market's mixed, mainly down for the smaller cap. Crypto's getting, it's rolling over. I warned everyone in the private group like yesterday or the day before. I'm like, it looks like it's rolling over. If it breaks 60,000, you know, dumpy. Because it did not have a lot of velocity, right? Or not velocity. It did not have a lot of momentum. Breaking up to the upside and making the all-time high. It just kind of stalled. It's hard moving a coin that's like $60,000 a piece, or it went up, I don't even know where, like 60. I'll look at the chart in a second, but we'll talk about gold, silver, cryptos. Let's take a look at, I'll talk about the yield curve, the shipping ports. There's a lot going on. Inflation is through the roof. And it's just getting started. So it's going to be a wild year next year. It's going to be pretty crazy, I think. I haven't made a video in a while, so I'm like rusty. All right, let's look at Bitcoin. Yeah, so there was a 9 sell last week. And I warned everyone in the private group, it's probably going to dump. It's dumping. It's on support, sorta, right now. Bitcoin, it's on the left. These are weekly charts. Ethereum's on the right. I hope Ethereum drops, so those gas fees come down. Will it continue to dump? So I might look a little more in depth on cryptos on my next Hex video. Right now it's sitting on support. These are previous local tops, right? So if it breaks around this area, right, anywhere down to 56,000, next major support is around the 128 MA and the 200 MA and my blue line, which is around 47,000. All right. Heck. So when I first started making videos public, it was somewhere in midsummer or something like that. The price was still down around 10, 11 cents. Or a little bit less, somewhere around there. You should be fine, unless you bought the top. Or you bought later, right? Or you dollar cost averaged up on the rally. So I made that call, right? $10 by year end. It's at 21 cents. Is it possible? Yes. Actually, yes. I know it sounds crazy, but I'll talk more about that in my next video. It really all depends if Pulse Chain launches, right? Anyways, great dip buying opportunity. I mean, if you loved it at 55 cents, you should really love it right now at 21. Nothing's changed fundamentals wise. Actually, there's just a bunch of bullish news. Just endless bullish news. So why did the price keep dumping? Well, there was people waiting for about 3 years and they just started taking profits. It's all psychological. TA really just charts human psychology. And there were people, I do think there was a group of maybe squids or smaller dolphins, whatever. They all teamed up and they started dumping the price right out of this fractal up here, right? The bull flag. Well, the flag broke down. I think they purposely did that to be able to buy in at lower prices, and they successfully pulled it off, which kind of pisses me off. But it's all right. This just gives a buying opportunity for people who are late or people who want to accumulate more. In an extremely high inflationary global environment, 40% APY, you can't beat that. There's nothing else in the world, right? They could do that. They could give you that. And there's so much room to run. It's pre-viral. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll talk more in depth in my next video. But yeah, I mean, it almost touched my blue line. The 200 moving average kind of held it up. It wicked down, then it popped back up. Godwell came in, saved the day, came out on Twitter. It's basically saying he doesn't even care about money. This is more about changing people's lives for the better and changing the world. That's everything. It's music to our ears, right? Meanwhile, I'll talk more about it. But right now, it retested the 200 moving average, right? All right, well, TA-wise, looks like a great buying opportunity. Listen, 21 cents to $21 is 100x, not including the 40% APY. By the end of 2022, I expect it to be much higher than that. What's 100 times your money? A lot. Life-changing. All right? I was saying the same shit back down here to people. People who didn't listen are envious and salty. People who did, they're doing great. Life-changing. You have to understand what this is, and I'll explain in my next video. All right, I'm done. Let's talk about the stock market. I still hold, did I sell some of my mining stocks to buy Hex? Yes, but it wasn't a lot. It should have been more. I still did great. I was just waiting for gold and silver to go up in spring and summer of this year, right? Well, that didn't happen. Basel III came out. Did jack shit. The price dumped. Inflation was already running high. It was coming out in the news everywhere that inflation's really picking up. And then they kept saying transitory all spring, all summer, and the price would not go up. Why? Because they manipulate it. The entire damn market's fake, guys. They're just printing trillions. They can kind of move it around when you're just printing, when you're printing trillions and trillions and trillions. By the way, the bill Brandon just signed, it's 1.6. But the way they calculated it is it's like smoke and mirrors. It's really 6 trillion in the next 8 years. All right? But people don't look deeper. They don't dive deep. It's really 6 trillion. But the way they calculated it, it's only 1.6 because it's adjusted. The spending is adjusted to the amount of stimulus adjusts itself, the budget, every year based on how much they're spending on their Build Back Better, Great Reset, whatever. What it really is, it's going to be like building smart cities and surveillance on everything. And when you breathe, they're going to know. When your heart beats, they're going to know. But don't worry, it's really not going to all work out. Because here, let's take a look at some. This right now is the most concerning. Okay. So if we look at this, shipping containers, right? They're backed up all over the damn place. On all the ports. Even in the UK. Like the Western world, there's just shipping containers everywhere. Backed up at the ports. There's ships, hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands, just floating around. People are stuck on these ships for months. Each ship has a crew of, 15 people or something. And they're running out of food and stuff. But, why is this happening? Why? Do you want to know why? Because we don't make anything. We printed trillions of dollars. In 2020, we printed trillions. We're continuing to print trillions because there is stimulus every month that's printed on autopilot. I forgot how much. I think it's 80 billion a month. Okay, well, after, and then there was the 6 trillion they printed in 2020. I've literally lost track. It doesn't matter. It's infinity money. Gammon here, Rebel Capitalists, they were talking about how much money Americans have in their checking accounts. And that's just average people. We're not even talking about the corporations and the super rich and even just the 1%, because they got the PPP loans, remember? And then everyone got stimmy checks, but a lot of people are not working and making more money not working. It's insane. And a lot of people are getting some pay raises. Why? Because people aren't going to work. There's a shortage of employees. There's hiring signs everywhere. By the way, anyone who's I have to take the Kool-Aid, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then just, I don't know. You're fucked. Take the boosters then, just take them all. If you don't know what I'm talking about at this point. I assume everyone who watches me is much higher IQ and knows what the hell's going on. I don't want to insult your intelligence, but you never know. And it's not like I'm getting any new, viewers or subscribers, But, and I say, but it's weird because I do get over a couple thousand views, but in my free Telegram chats, in the newsroom, there's only 250 people. On my Twitter, yeah, there's a lot of people, but a lot of it's from crypto. If you're not following me, the links are below the video. If you can't follow simple instructions, links below the video. It's free chat groups, free Twitter. Like, go follow me in other places. Every day I'm posting and keeping everyone up to date for free. But people are too lazy. I don't know. I guess I don't want you around at that point anyways. There's endless jobs. Do you maybe have to like downgrade your job? Yeah, maybe. But you know what's really expensive? Cancer. That shit sucks. And you don't know. Right? There's a lot of healthy people. Professional athletes. For some reason, they're just dropping on the field. I don't know how else, like, I can't say certain words. I have to, like, filter myself, because that's the world we live in, because we live in a world of weak men. Nobody has ball sacks anymore. Okay? And that's why we're here, so the people who run everything, and there are it exists. It's called Bilderberg. And then there's more. There's Topper. They view you as useless food eaters. I kind of understand where they're coming from at this point. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people are pretty fucking retarded. And they are useless food eaters at this point. Like, these past year and 2 years have really proven that. And it's very sad. I'm very disappointed. So I think they're thinning out the herd substantially. Very, very crazy. Will they be successful? Somewhat, but not really, because it's impossible to manage something like this. Impossible. I don't care if you even have spiritual backing, like, from, like, it's just, all right. So, let's listen to this.
That all, Joseph?
These are just retail deposits. If you look at the non-retail deposits,
I can't believe we've had inflation. That doesn't make sense.
So I've actually done a little bit of work about who holds the money that's increasing, and there's just this amazing chart that I have, and you can on one of my actually my former post, where you see.
You want me to go over there really quick?
Yeah. Just
let me do that.
Let's
do that for the viewers so they can see that. So I'm going to go.
I mean, this is exactly your point too. That about.
So how do I get to? Do I go to forum?
No, just home. Go to home and just scroll down.
Okay.
Yep, scroll down. Mechanics of yes, this one. Continue reading. Yep. So,
chart?
Just lower down a little bit. Yes, this one. You can click it. I think.
Right here.
You can click. Yeah, that one. So, this is money held by the held by households. Wow, so not businesses, not. That. And this is checking account money. So this is not savings account. That's another graph. It's just in your checking account. And that $2 trillion surge, that's all from pandemic transfer payments. So you think inflation?
Whoa!
The government basically printed trillions of dollars and gave it to like mom and pop, right? So
yeah, I always look at M2 or their new version of M2, and it's not.
All right, so they talked about this briefly, and then they went on to the next thing. By the way, this is here, I'll scroll. You guys see the video title? You guys could find it. It's right there if you want to watch the rest of it on your own. So I'm gonna give credit to George Gammon. It's at it's okay. So I didn't know this, and this is a big deal. You guys have been wondering why you can't find cars and why they're like gone up like over 100%, the value of used cars and everything. It's because people have 3.6 trillion in their checking account. Holy shit. That doesn't even include if they want to take out a loan, because they could put down maybe a deposit because of fractional reserve lending. And then we just passed another infrastructure bill. This is crazy. This is why we have GIFs and pictures, NFTs selling for, I don't know, millions. People aren't really spending. They are, but not really. Like, I feel like they're still holding on, but it's weird as well, right? So credit card debt is also through the roof. We're just swimming in cash. This doesn't even include all of the dollars, because there's even more dollars from what's held domestically abroad, because the dollar is still the world reserve. Not for long, but it is still right now. And this is why, and people aren't working. How insane. And this is why we have shipping containers. So this is the problem. This is why there's bottlenecks in the supply chain. People are just buying stuff, but they're not working, and the U.S. doesn't really produce much. And China can barely keep up with the production. So all this stuff is coming into the U.S., and then they can't get rid of it. They don't know what to do with the shipping containers, because it's more expensive to send them back empty, because we don't make anything. We don't export anything. By the way, our exports have gone up in price because of inflation, because it costs us more to make things. So now when other countries want to buy American-made goods, the prices are only going up. So they're probably just switching and buying from China as well. Or where else? Or anywhere else. Mexico, you name it. So the shipping containers, I heard they're making walls on the border with shipping containers. Look it up. This is insane. At the same time, prices are surging for all goods, and there's backlogs, right? So when you order something, sometimes it just doesn't arrive for weeks and months. There's empty shelves all over the place. Where I live, it's fine. You could barely tell. There's still empty shelves here and there, and there's still delays on shipping or mail. It's wild. Now, in the short term, I guess it's good for the U.S. because, hey, we're getting all this stuff. I'm not saying we're getting it for free, but hey, I mean, buy it while you can, because one day it's gonna stop and end, and it'll be abrupt, I believe, and then the dollar is gonna get devalued, like globally. But I think we'll have a crisis before then. But domestically, inflation's gonna just, guys, it doesn't end. It's only gonna get worse and worse and worse. They're gonna keep. Okay, so the taper talks by Jerome, that was all just to manage inflation fears, because half of inflation is the fear of inflation. So when people realize en masse, the 100 monkey effect, that wait a minute, prices aren't going to come down, they're only going to go up for probably a very long time, for years possibly, what are people going to do? Well, they're not going to hold on to money in their bank accounts. And as we just saw in the last chart, right, you could go to fedguide.com. I'm not going to go through this. I don't want to make this an hour-long video. But you guys get the point, right? So when the average normie Joe Sixpack realizes prices aren't coming down, and then they start expecting for prices to only go up, and they're going to start asking for wage increases, right? Because they can't live off of the current wage. Well, the cycle perpetuates itself. People go out they start panic hoarding, right? All right, so Jerome Powell, that's why they talked about tapering. And they did a little tapering under last FOMC. Okay, the taper talks is just to psychologically calm everyone. Like, we're taking action. When everyone realizes that the Wizard of Oz can't, they pull back the curtain, they realize that they can't raise rates ever. And even if they raise it just 25 basis points, that's probably enough for the stock market and the economy to, like, I don't know, have like a knee-jerk reaction and dump the stock market. And that happened back in early 2009, or no, was it 2018? I don't know. It happened like 2019. Whenever they raised rates for the first time during Trunk's, um, you know, reign. So yeah, it's just Fed talk, which is manipulating psychologically everyone, the markets and everyone. Uh, they don't have tools to stop inflation, guys, because if rates are raised, it pops the bubble, and I've talked about that for years now. You guys get it. So, oh, on top of that, midterms coming up next year around this time, maybe a little sooner. I don't know the dates. All I know it's like end of summer, fall or something, or around this time. They're going to keep the economy juiced all the way till then. So so it's not like a huge red wave. But I don't know. I expect prices to be double what they are right now on everything across the board. Gas, I don't know where that's going to be. So gas, let's look at crude real quick. Here it is. It's only at 78 right now. But you can see at the pumps, like, the price is going up a lot. I think it's like over $8, or there's $8 in parts of Cali. Of course, they shut down the pipeline, but now we're gonna get oil not just from OPEC, but from China, because I just saw in the news that they could dip into their reserves. Long term strategically, I guess that's all right. If it's actually planned for just consuming the rest of the world's oil while the dollar still has value. If that's the plan, it's kind of, I get it. I don't think that's the plan. I think they're just out of their minds, and they want to go full electric. That's insane. As soon as there's a sunburst, like we're all done for. Everything's just done, like a solar burst. On top of that, where are they gonna get all the natural resources? I mean, they're gonna get it from the current mines operating, but they need to open up new mines. There's one mine I have in my portfolio that they will not open. It's the biggest mine in the world. They just need to open that mine. And maybe they could do some of their EV, smart city, all-electric BS. By the way, guys, I've talked about this. I don't think it's smart and healthy to sit on top of a giant battery and the electric motors that are constantly rotating at high speeds, giving off like electrical magnetic waves on you. That just can't be healthy. But, yeah, who am I? I just happen to be right about almost everything. All right. So, and it's going to cost a lot of energy to power these vehicles, this and that. Honestly, I don't care. I know in the long term it's not going to really work out. We'll have a hybrid economy where like half cars are gas powered and the others are maybe EVs. But the psychos won't be empowered anyways in a couple years. I don't want to talk too much about that. But because the snake eats itself. It eats itself. This is insanity. There's a lot of pissed off people. Imagine if they all get, even sicker. All right, anyways. So, I'm looking at like, this is just a dip in crude. I'm looking to buy this dip again. We bought the dip down here. I took profits up here. I told guys in private group, the crude's only going up. I've talked about this forever. Crude's only going to go up with inflation. And there's supply gluts, supply chain issues, and they're shutting down pipelines. It's a suicide. Like, everyone's going to be really pissed next summer when the velocity of money picks up and people want to travel again in the summer. Because I have a feeling they're going to try to do some lockdowns, probably only in the blue states, but they chose their lives. They're all about it. They love it. They love it. They love to be obedient little slaves. All right, give it to them. I don't even feel sorry for them. If you're still there, chose your life. All right, so we might get a retest down to, I'd say $72, $71. and then it'll break back up higher, and then I don't know, by spring next year we're probably looking at $100, testing $110 a barrel of crude. All right, let's talk about yield. You know what? For all the DXY guys, let's talk about DXY real quick because it's really annoying. The DXY guys. But look at the DXY. It affects gold and silver and everything. I'm like, you're full of shit. Everyone's printing money like it grows on, like it's going out of style globally because the global economy crashed. It already crashed. This is the bailout. We're in it. All right. And it's forever bailouts until it just, I don't know, until everyone starts starving to death. So that's why Gates bought all that farmland. They're gonna make cricket farms so you guys could eat bugs. Some protein bars like in a Snowpiercer movie. Yeah. The DXY. So dollar versus a basket of other fiat worthless currencies, right? Digital currencies, might I add. It tested 96. There was resistance up here. There's a lot of price action in that area, so that was resistance. Now it's going to fall back down and test 91 again. 91 seems high in people's minds, but it's not in reality because all fiat currencies are falling. The digits on the y-axis of this chart doesn't mean shit. It means nothing. The only thing that means anything is the price of commodities and energy, raw materials, and labor. That's where you get the real PMI, which is the real inflation. It's not these charts with numbers. That shit is like smoke and mirrors. We're in a runaway inflationary event now. Stock market's gonna probably go up for like Venezuela style. It already is. All right. Don't believe me? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Here's S&P 500. What are we looking at? What is this? This looks like a parabolic move straight, like almost 90 degrees up at this point. Look at this. Like, whee! Are people getting rich in the S&P and holding index funds, this and that? Are the boomers rich as shit right now so they could buy more RVs and boner pills with their 401ks? Kinda. So they definitely have the wealth effect. They think things are all right. And they have money in their savings. But is it? No. If you adjust your stock gain to inflation, real inflation running in the real world, you're really not that much up. And again, if you're making a lot, you're going up in the higher tax bracket. S&P, it's on an 8 count on the monthly. So next month, I think what it is they're gonna get us through Christmas. So everyone goes shopping, and then pull the plug. Let's get a correction, maybe. Put on a log scale. Yeah, a little more room to run. So I think I don't know. I'll pay attention, but we probably still have another month of upside in the market. Although looking at the FANG index, I mean, it all looks crazy, right? It all looks crazy and toppy. I mean, I'm thinking the FANGs and the NASDAQ may correct before the S&P and the Dow. The Dow may not even correct. Or it might, but not much. And what I mean by correction, like a 10, 15, at worst, like a 30% drop. And what would be the catalyst to that? I don't know. Maybe inflation, weak Christmas shopping numbers. I don't know. I just feel like something's coming up. This has been the longest bull run in history, I think. It's just been going up forever. So let's look at the NASDAQ. From the COVID dip bottom, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 months of upside. How could anyone look at this and think it's normal? When I drive around, like when I go in the city, there's bums on every corner. And there's endless looking for hired signs everywhere. And the stock market's going parabolic. Straight up clown world. Anyways, I think we do need a dip. Something, right? Some sort of correction dip. Maybe it'll be... I'm not sure. It'll be something. I'll keep you guys up to date. I'll make more videos. The chart just needs a correction. That's literally how I'm looking at it. Economic data is pretty poor and weak. Like the job numbers, unemployment is going higher again. And all the jobs that were lost in 2020, not a lot of them came back. So, and every time they say, oh, we added 250,000 jobs, those are just people going back to work. People who lost jobs, in 2020. So everything is smoke and mirrors and skewed. Take a look at the bond yield on the 10-year. Gold is the orange. The S&P is the green. Blue is bond. I think the yield is going to drop. It might spike. It might spike to 2%. So, in that video I was showing you guys, so if bond yields spike again, like they did in 2019, and then we had the repo fiasco market thing, and then what happened right after that, right? The plague. Crazy, weird timing. It even matched up with my monthly 9 sell on the S&P 500 back then. Remember? You guys remember that? And I called the Black Swan event. I think I was the very first person, literally, to call it. Of course, I don't get credit. I'm a nobody, right? Nobody gives me credit or gives me any fucking publicity. The world would fucking burn if they did. Which is fine. I don't want it. I'm too intense for most people anyways. Yeah, so they were talking about the yields, right? And they were actually talking about how the yield, because the free market moves the yield curve and the rates on bonds. But, the central banks tamper with it and they peg it down to zero, the short-term debt, the bonds, the yield on the short-term debt, and then they mess with it and then they manipulate it by keeping yields at zero. In Europe, they go negative. I don't even know how people live in Europe. I don't know. They all live in little like apartments in the city. They have like I don't know. Some do well, but it's probably really tough to live there. Anyways, so they were talking about how yields spiking and going up could actually cause metals and actually increase inflation even more because of the mechanism through the repo market and all of the deposits and liabilities on the balance sheets of the banks. It gets a little complex. I don't really want to explain it, but through the way they explained it, that's why I'm saying go watch this video. I think it's good. It makes sense. And in the past, I could prove it. And gold's the barometer of inflation, especially in the past. By the way, I think Bitcoin actually is more correlated to the S&P and the stock market more than anything. So yeah, in the long run, it's probably going to go up and probably hit 100K. I don't know. Because looks like we're going to go through a Venezuela style, stock market straight up. And it'll probably last towards the end of 2022 because of the reasons I said earlier. Remember? So where is it? All right, here's gold. This is what had happened back in the early 80s when Paul Volcker, the only last central bank president to ever raise rates, he raised it to 20%. According to not according, but looking at the environment today compared to back in the 70s and 80s during their inflationary event. By the way, they had gas shortages back then as well. he had to raise it to 20%. The economy was much stronger back then. We still had a manufacturing industrial backbone, or at least some, you know. Today we don't have any of that. They would have, and we have way more debt, way more debt, and debts do matter. To normalize the economy, to have a free market again, they would have to raise rates probably double, if not triple. Like literally 40, 60%. No one would be able to borrow money. And that would implode every major corporation in the US, every company, every small business, everything. It'd be like third world. And it'd be painful. But that's better than going through a hyperinflationary depression. Because if they raised rates, at least we maybe could afford food. That's how bad shit's gonna get. But yeah, so here's what gold did back then, right? It did like a 800% rally, and then the mining stocks went up like 50x, 100x. It's a short-term event that lasts like 1, 2, 3 years. All right, so what was I talking about? Yeah, so Gammon's video, how they were explaining how if rates actually increase, it'll actually increase inflation. And Volcker raised rates back then, and when they started raising rates, that's when this hyperbolic move happened in metals. And inflation kept running wild for a couple years as they were raising rates because they were behind the curve. Well, we're already behind the curve, and we're at near zero rates on the bond market, on the treasury market. All right. Here's a dynamic yield curve. It actually kind of looks like it did back right before the 2020 plague thing, right? Before the market black swan event happened. See? This is current. Not quite there. Short-term rates would have to go higher. That's mainly your short-term loans, like credit cards. Apparently car loans are like 8 years now in the US because people can't even afford them. Even used cars. 2008, what did that look like? Looked like this, but rates were higher, right? You know, the entire curve. It was above 4%. Today it's down here because of the Fed buying bonds and manipulating the market, right? But what I'm trying to show you guys is it flattens. See? So that was 2008.com flattened right before 2020, right? Kind of flattened here. And then right now, not as flattened, but the short-term rates are pegged to zero. So if they raise rates, it'll flatten. And then, you know, we get another one of these. Another crash. Because if they raise rates in the slightest bit, all these people buying homes, because we have a giant housing bubble right now, it's greater than 2008, they all default. I don't even know if we're doing ninja loans yet, but probably, who knows. I mean, the housing market's insane in the US. How are people buying homes without jobs? I don't know. I guess the unemployment pays so well. Because it does pay more than their jobs. Guys, I don't know. It's insane. But Zillow just had a bad business model. But they're like going under because they were flipping homes. So you could go on their website and do a video thing of your home. Give them pictures and walk through your home with a video camera or your phone. And they would, right there and then, give you a estimate of the value of your home and buy it off you. So if you're looking to get rid of your home, but I think they already closed it. They laid off a bunch of people and their stock like crashed. There's another company out there. I gave that to the private members. Currently, I have a friend trying to sell a home too. It's called Open Door. All right, so yeah, I showed you guys that. Showed you that. Let's go through the news a little bit. Then I'll talk about mining stocks and gold and silver and energy and commodities. So does the Fed have a brewing velocity problem? Yes. Yes, it does. The ports in LA are great evidence of that. Inflation rearing up everywhere now, evidence of that. U.S. commercial bank credit, all-time highs. M2 money supply through the roof. U.S. commercial bank loans. So the banks aren't lending that much, to be honest. U.S. commercial bank assets. Commercial. Oh, these are commercial. Well, they might start buying more retail space for the for the, what is it? Build Back Better. Yeah. All right. So velocity. This is why the velocity is going to go up, because it's at all-time lows, and it just picked up a little bit recently. And if that's true, there's like 3.6 trillion in people's check. Eventually, they're going to feel comfortable enough to spend it, and I think they're going to do it next summer and spring. Why is that? Because they're gonna juice the economy even more. So I'm thinking, after this holiday season, going into 2022, we're gonna get some sort of correction again, and then maybe they'll do more stimulus or something. They'll pass something else. Maybe do another round of checks to everyone. Who knows? Because they want to get that velocity of money going to really kickstart the economy, the real economy, which in the short term works. Long term destroys it, okay? Because inflation just keeps running higher and it just destroys everything. But short term, you do get a sugar high, right? And again, because of politics, they want to have a good spring and summer where people feel like the economy's starting to boom, this and that. And that'll be some crazy blow-off type beginning of, like, I don't want to say hyperinflation, but some serious runaway inflation. So velocity of money, I think, is going to pick up big time going into next spring and summer. I think cryptos are going to do crazy things. I think metals, mining stocks are going to do crazy. Like, this will be a big wealth transfer event, and we're going to have a great time. But it's going to be a wild year because prices of everything are just going to be... If you think the prices are high now, this is just the beginning. Utilities, bills, rent, everything just through the roof. Some of these things are not just because of money, but it's because of policy, right? Because of previous policy in the past year and a half. Like, renters can't get evicted. All right, well, the rentee, the person who's renting out the home or the duplex or whatever, they kind of got screwed. So they need to make up for that money that they lost out on. And they have to make sure that the next person who moves in, so they're going to jack up prices. You guys understand. Like, if everything's going up, everything's going up. It's like a self-fulfilling cycle, prophecy. You should watch this interview. It has everyone in it. So, read this. Go to Zero Hedge. I mean, clown. Yeah, Build Back Better. Methane fee means higher costs for heating. It's not even just the fact that they're printing endless money. Their policies. They're banning energy independence, literally. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, people are gonna be pissed. You're gonna own nothing and you're gonna be happy. Literally, that's what this is. It's like they're purposely destroying everything. You know what's funny? The super rich, the billionaires, not getting taxed. And I don't think they should. Just, don't use your funds to thin out the herd and make us slaves. It's gonna back. It's just, I do feel that the sheep need to feel more pain for them to really, what else? All right, so the number of Americans on the dole mysteriously jumps back above 3 million. I know why. Because people don't want their employer to do something to them. You know what I mean? A lot of healthcare professionals quit. This is a big hit for Tesla. I have a suspicion he knew about this recall and then made a poll on Twitter, which is actually pretty brilliant, and gave him a good excuse to unload his stocks. And he might have known ahead of time. I'm sure he did. Kind of slimy. Just kind of like, it's just like funds are secure, right? But he could do whatever he wants. He's iron. All right, let me go to page. How long is this video? Oh man, I might be able to cut it below an hour. I gotta hurry up. Top 1% gains more wealth than GDPs of Japan, Germany, UK, France, India, and Italy combined. Bottom 50%, you will own nothing and you will be happy, right? Like, I'll give it to them. They have balls. They have balls. Unbelievable. They could travel wherever they want. No papers, please. And, you know, it's an exciting time to be alive if you manage to navigate this world. In the U.S., shale patch refusing to pump for political reasons. Wow. Yeah. Guys, your utility bills are going to be through the roof. I expect by the end of 2022, everyone's paying $8 a gallon. So booming retail sales don't necessarily signal strong economy. Right. Sales numbers go up because the cost of goods are going up because of inflation. That doesn't exactly mean they're selling more goods. They're just selling less goods, but for a little bit more money. So the balance sheets of these companies, these retail companies, are like, again, smoke and mirrors because of inflation. And it misrepresents how much they're actually making and selling. And if you adjust everything for inflation, I guarantee you companies are struggling. Which is another great excuse. That's why a lot of them are like, hey, you need to do this certain medical, procedure. It's just an excuse to get rid of them. It's a good way to lay people off, right? Listen, the Pacific, this is Europe, by the way. But I just want to talk about this. I bought a bunch of computers. You got to get your computers now. Ask for a new one for Christmas. I don't know. Because I'm telling you, if something pops off in the Pacific, we don't have any semiconductors in the US and Europe. It might just stop for globally. There'll be no more new cars, no more computers, and other things. That's why I'm saying the smart city, this build back better, this EV shit, it's a scam. Like, I'm telling you, the world, as it gets more hectic and cartels break off and they start fighting each other and blah, 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 there's not going to be a way to build all this. To move away from fossil fuels and petroleum and the way things were, to move to just, I don't know, living on a circuit board. By the way, it is possible, but it's through other sources and means of technology, not what they want to do, like hydro and this and that. But they're not doing that. They want to go nuclear, which is, I don't trust anyone anymore in this world, especially after they've taken shit. I guarantee you IQs are dropping by like 8% year over year at this point, because everything's poisoned, especially. But yeah. So how are they going to run these power plants? You guys watch. I used to watch Homer. The Simpsons. I literally picture that at this point. There's probably a Homer in a power plant, eating donuts, retarded as shit. That's why I get it. I like it. I have uranium stocks. 10 baggers across the board. They're doing great. And it is clean energy until there's an accident like Fukushima So, I went over an hour. Damn it. If you look into her, what she wants and what they're planning is to be only one bank in the world. Or not the world, well, maybe, but central banks to be the only banks and no more branches. And then they could control your spending. They could shut you off if you make a video like I just did. And you just, and they could just take your ass. This is why I do think that, there is a purpose for the alternative, which is crypto. There is. There's not enough people in the world who have actual physical coins, and besides that, you're going to be bartering. All right. So, yeah, like these people are nuts. They're control freaks and beyond. And it's very concerning. And if they do get to that level, you want to have a tight-knit community where you all kind of live nearby each other, and everyone has a different set of skills, and you guys could help each other out. Because in that world, by the way, it's not going to work. It'll collapse. But they might keep it running for a little bit. And everyone's going to have a very bad time. Extremely bad. Communism doesn't work. Even their hybrid approach to it, like China, right? It doesn't work. It's going to collapse. But until it does, you don't want to be relying on them or in their system. I do have faith. What I see happening is just massive balkanization across the planet. Well, and especially in the U.S. and all the central. By the way, you centralize control and power like this, like these psychopaths do. It takes more gears, like in a watch, for it to run crisp and to run well, which introduces more complexity to it. So through more complexity and bureaucracy and centralization, it doesn't work. It becomes, the bigger it becomes, the less efficient it runs, and it doesn't run, and then it breaks. A good example of this is the military. Super bureaucratic. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Everyone runs around. There's misinformation, miscommunication all over the place. There's rules and procedures everywhere. Everything needs a booklet and a pamphlet, like a dictionary thick. And it just doesn't work well. It's not efficient. And that happens towards the tail end of empires where the military is so big and bureaucratic. Standards fall and communication I don't want to get into it. For corporations, the same thing. Mega corporations can't compete with the smaller competitors because they're too big. There's no innovation. There's think tanks filled with HR departments that have like purple and blue hair, and they come from universities which are also megalithic, and there's no creativity, and because creativity gets destroyed with bureaucracy and micromanaging and all this and centralization, right? I hope you guys see the big picture. I hope you do. That I'm trying to portray here. All right, that's enough. My throat hurts. I'll smash some likes. Tell me in the comment section what you want me to talk about. If you don't enjoy my videos, hit that dislike and no one's going to see it. Because they took it away. I guess, because they do want people to see what they want them to see to control their minds. But a lot of people always hit the dislike, and then people see that and they're like, oh, I'm not alone. Everyone actually thinks this is garbage, and they're feeding us garbage trying to control our minds, right? So they took away the dislike button. They didn't take it away, but you can't see how many people dislike. It's hilarious. Or did they bring it back? I see a dislike button here. Huh. I don't know. Alright, guys. Share my videos, please. Only way I grow and I continue to make videos. Leave in the comment section what you want me to talk about. Go to my website if you're interested, because I do think gold and silver is going to break out. Oh, shit. I didn't talk about gold and silver. Hold on. Don't leave. Half of you already left. Well, it's going to break out. It already broke out.